All right. Hello and good morning. Let's see. I think we just need to dive into it today because I'm a bit on a schedule. My mother is visiting, and my girlfriend is also working from home, and she has a meeting at 9. So let's just get down to this. We were refactoring, and let's see. Okay, so let's finish this thing. And I also saw, let's see, app dot backlog, add backlog item. Oh yeah, this is the thing. App state. Yeah, I saw this comment from Ronnie on YouTube. And I wasn't quite sure what he meant, but maybe we can look at it together after I'm done here. Let's see. So we want to know if we are in, let's see, add backlog item. Let's see, add backlog item state. So if we have that state and let's see, or we are in error, or we are in invalid, or we are invalid, then we want to do something. We want to set the date like that. Cool. And I guess this is the same thing. So let's just copy it. Yeah, so I wonder if there's some way you can like set up the add backlog item state, that there's like some way you can set up the these checks. Yeah, I'm not sure. You could expose a function for it, I guess, or you could have like a derived to check it. The thing is, they're so specific. That's the problem. Like, it's this specific page on these specific transition states, so it's kind of hard to like create like a function for that. So yeah, I'm not sure about that, but let's move on and get this done. So let's see. We want this kind of check. So let's just copy this. Let's see, because we want to get back into our add backlog item state, but we're not going to have our invalid state here. And then let's just copy this whole thing. I guess it's down there. Oh no, we're in a transition, so it's like down here or something. Ooh, got the skill. Let's see. Yeah, so we also want the authenticated state here. So let's see. First, we want auth state. Or I guess we can just grab the, how should we do this? Should we just grab the profile? Or I guess, yeah, so it should understand this. Let's see. So here we should be able to just say authenticated profile. No, because it's not part of this thing. Okay, so let's split this up into two. Authenticated. So if we have auth state and oh my god, what just happened there? And then we have auth state. Yeah, and then of course this will be if, let's see, like that, and then we don't have this and we won't have this. We rather put this inside this or something. Let's see. Yes, so we're transitioning there, and then yeah. So we're transitioning into adding. Yeah, so this one I guess is interesting. Yeah, this is where we don't really take into account our change. Or like, this is where it is not ideal because we just transitioned into adding. So we actually know that we are in the adding state, but pointing to like state or whatever, for example, add backlog item state, this still doesn't know if we're adding, right? Which is interesting. That becomes like, god damn it, this is super annoying because this kind of breaks. Everything looked pretty okay up to this point, really, because we are explicitly just checking what state we are in, and then we make some transitions after that. But now we actually transition first, and then we want to do some additional state changes, and the typing doesn't help us here at all. Yeah. So maybe the transition should not be a Boolean. It should rather return a new state. So what we would do here instead, we would say adding state, and then we would, yeah, so this is what we did previously, and then we would say if we do have adding state, because then we could actually work with adding state. So a transition isn't something we do. Do we have any other transitions there? Transition. Yeah, so like typically what we've done with transitions, we just run them. We didn't really care if they went through because we don't have any more logic related to it. One thing that kind of annoys me is that we can't like do this. Now it complains about just running this. Yeah, but anyways, this is quite explicit. But yeah, what I mean is that we're just running transitions now. We are not actually acting on them. So that's why this felt a little bit weird, because we're acting on the transition. And yeah, I think this needs to return like instead of returning Boolean, it should return the state or undefined. Yeah, it has to do that, or you won't be able to like act on the state. And this is the tricky thing, because this is a TypeScript thing, because for normal JavaScript, you don't, that's the thing. That's always the thing. Doing an API for both JavaScript and TypeScript, it's tricky, because if we weren't using TypeScript, it would make sense to just put this inside the if, and then it would just point to the state. Yeah, though what we're returning here isn't the machine, it's the actual state. That's also a tricky thing. Yeah, because we're not really returning, like we're not returning like machine.adding here. Like if we return that, then we will get into other issues. Then we would get into issues where we want to point to like base state, because that's not part of this. And if we return this, like the machine, we would have to change the typing of the machine to make the adding be, oh, god damn it. This is horrible. How should we express this? Ugh. Yeah, there's so many checks there. I don't know. Maybe it's my mood today, but I'm starting to feel like I don't like this. There's so many checks, but that's the whole thing. That's what a state machine is. It's a bunch of checks. And you can express those declaratively, which is much nicer, but becomes very boilerplatey and difficult to understand when it gets complex. And then you can do it imperatively, like here, where you can split it up and you can kind of sprinkle it around, where it becomes less complex because you don't have to express everything in one single definition. Well, you can split up state machines as well declaratively, but it gets more tricky. Because you have these, if you want to like point to a parent and stuff, you just say parent and you don't really know what that is. And then the typing, it just becomes, yeah, it's not as explicit. Add backlog item. How should we express this? How? So what I can do, like I can say adding state equals well, I am pointing to, yeah, this is also the thing, like description here is a base state. So I don't really care which state I'm in. So I could like just do this. That's perfectly okay. But what if I did want to point to, yeah. Yeah, there's a conceptual weird thing here, because I can like use, since this is base state, I can't just point to add backlog item state. But this is kind of not protecting me from doing that transition. Or I guess it is. Well, I guess it is. Like I want to transition into adding, like, and this is, we're refactoring now. So this adds some complexity. Oh, by the way, I didn't check my microphone. Eek. Oh, it seems to be good. Okay. Oh, no, it happened again. Oh. Yeah, this is a little bit, is it weird? Maybe it's not weird, because now I'm doing something async, and what I would do here is say, am I still on adding? Yeah, so it's this thing where checking the current state, like, so this is the thing, like we're actually just checking if we are on this state. That's what we're doing. But it also has a second purpose, and that is actually accessing the state on that transition state. And that's kind of, let's see, let's just put this in there. Oops. So I'm checking if I'm in that state, but then I'm pointing to like general, the general base state. So it would be interesting if like, yeah, I don't know. So do I even care if I'm, this is interesting. The point is I'm checking adding and then I'm not like using it for anything. That's the thing. Then if this thing, well, maybe it's because I'm, yeah, I think one thing I'm doing here that's a little bit weird. Oh, that's something I forgot. I forgot the typing, that you can add a partial base state here as well. I have to fix that. So one thing is, this is not... Yeah, I think this is the thing, like, or is it? No, this is, I don't know. I might just be looking at this the wrong way. But I'm, yeah. I think I need to think about this a little bit. Because this is like, at least when I was refactoring this, it requires you to, you can't really just, I want to do this thing. For example, okay, I want to transition into adding, for example. That's what I wanted to do. So why didn't I just do that? Why did I have to do all these checks first? Like if I were to write this from scratch, would I write, like that's the problem, we're refactoring this. So we're not like looking at the API from a fresh perspective. So what if I, okay, my goal here was to move into adding. So what I could have done here is say state authenticated app add backlog item transition into adding. Oh yeah, and then so I could express it like this. This is what I wanted to do, and this encapsulates, well, most of it. It doesn't encapsulate that, okay, we need to be in error or invalid. But do we care about that? Because yeah, this is the thing. Like, yeah, so maybe this actually does make a lot more sense, because what we're doing here, we are kind of doing the checks that we're actually expressing already in here. So the thing is, I just want to move to the valid state, and this logic helps me ensure that I'm actually allowed to do that. I shouldn't tell the machine to do that. The machine is already set up so that if you are in a state where you can move to adding, then it will move to adding. If it's not in that state, it won't move into adding. So I really don't have to do all this stuff. And then I wonder, like, can I grab the profile safely here now? Because now, no, it still says that this is kind of sucky, that TypeScript doesn't pick up that authenticated isn't null now. It still says it's null, even though we know it's not null. Like TypeScript should know this, because if this if is going to run, it has to be there because we're checking here. But TypeScript doesn't seem to pick that up. So that's really sucky. So I would have to like here. So if I do profile here, no, it does know it. Awesome. Okay, that was just, okay, I guess it just showed me the typing. This is the evaluation of the typing. Yeah, this is great, because now I'm grabbing the profile, and then current description would be state authenticated app and backlog item. Oops. Description. Yeah, so it knows those two are valid. That's the thing, like when you have this nested thing, it becomes these long accessors. But you can, like if you're working with accessors multiple times, like add backlog item, for example, it's like, then you can just shorten them into a variable. But you know, let's just try to finish writing this. Let us finish write this. And then we do this try thing. So let's move this up now. Let's see. Oh, so we're going to remove. Oh, like that. No, what did I do? Sorry. Okay, so I want to move into adding, and I'm doing that if it's possible, and then grabbing the profile, the current description. But as you can see, I need to point into the add backlog item state several times. So let's add backlog item is this thing. So we're going to point to that, and then we're going to say add backlog item, add backlog item, add backlog item, add backlog item. And now we're checking, yeah, because it's async, we're checking if we're still adding. And if we're still adding, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. And then we say state. Yeah, because, yeah, and this is interesting because the await doesn't do the thing we expect it to do. Okay, but this is much cleaner. Like there's a ton of logic here that's unrelated to the state machines itself. So we must make sure we don't get like that affects us. Yeah, and then, yeah, exactly. And do I actually need, like, how would I write this? I want to, yeah, again, like, why are we checking adding? I want to move into, yeah, this is interesting because with this new way of doing things, I can be way more explicit. I can just do this. I want to move into invalid, if that's possible. And then I want to do this. Then we can remove all of this. Yeah. So that's the thing, like now we do what we want to do here. We don't. Yeah, maybe doing this matching isn't really the right thing to do. Maybe the right thing to do is to actually transition. And since our transitions doesn't have any side effects, okay, so let's think about it. I'm going to fix this typing thing because that's not how it's supposed to be. So let's look at something else. So for example, yeah, because here we are doing the transitions, right? This is how I think maybe it's supposed to be. So here, instead of oh, I have to quit in 1 minute. Yeah, and again, like we don't, yeah, I guess the problem is we can't really do this. That's the thing that trips us up a little bit. Yeah, I wish we could do this. So an expression. Yeah, because it, like this code is transpiled into like it checks that, or it does this thing, which is totally valid. Like this is what we do when we say on change and on change, something like that, right? But this is not, this is a linting thing. But maybe the linter is, maybe we should allow this for this kind of API, because then you could write, this instead. And the same here. I think that makes more sense for this kind of API. And then, yeah, exactly. And then we wrap a if around it if we want to continue operating on it. It's the same here. And I guess yeah. Okay, I have to go now. I will think a little bit more on this stuff. Yeah, and again, like I don't, well, yeah, so what about this one? Why do we do all these checks? Maybe that's the good thing about everything being a transition, is that you don't have to create all these manual checks anymore. Yeah, that's something I didn't think about. So I argued last time that like even if you just want to add a to-do, you kind of have to create a transition state for that. But that transition state just flips you back into a different state. But what it ensures is that you don't have to manually check what state you are in before you try to add a to-do. You just try to add a to-do, and then the machine knows if you can do it based on its current state. But now we have to tell it. Like we're manually doing it from the outside, which is not ideal. Yeah, I think we need more iterations on this, actually. Yeah, I'll think some more on it, and then I'll try to summarize next week. This is blocking the Overmind release. It's really annoying. But yeah, we're learning new things all the time, and we're kind of getting into why should the API work this way. Like we're getting into specific code examples that shows us why should it work this way, which is a good thing. Yeah, anyways, I have to go. Thanks for following along, and I'll talk to you later.